Good morning, guys. Welcome to today's training here on Wednesday, is it? Yeah, it's Wednesday. I'm going to move the mic a little bit. All right. It's nice to see you. If you're new to me, I'm Marshall Burtcher, and I help codependents rediscover happiness after codependency, after love addiction, after those emotionally unavailable relationships you've been enduring. I'm here to be your guide and help you rediscover the brilliance that you be through your innate value, voice, and vision, and the fact that you can be free from the codependent coping habits and actually connect with other human beings and have that fulfilling emotional connection that you've been seeking most, or if not your entire life. So today we're going to be talking a bit about what real healing is and how this shows up and what the nitty-gritty is around this. Before we get to that, I'm going to share this out to the community. The community is your safe haven in this storm and chaos of narcissistic abuse and neglect. The link is above on Facebook, below on YouTube. And if you are on YouTube, if you're part of the YouTube family, just hit that subscribe button, because I put videos or trainings out every week, 3 to 4 a week typically, where I help you make sense of the crazy and then give you guidance and direction, tools on how to heal and how to be happy again. That's the real point here. Okay, so let's jump in here a bit on the real healing, because currently we have 30 people and from Addiction to Connection. I haven't checked the roster this morning, but we have a lot of people joining us in From Addiction to Connection. They're going to be confronting their fantasy, but they're ultimately going to be restoring their sanity, their peace, and their connection both with themselves and with others. And part of this journey is about real healing and what that really is, because there's a lot out there on healing that seems to be very ideal. It reminds me of my own naivety around healing when I started out 12 years ago in this. Because I worked, my primary focus originally was working on trauma using some shamanic processes that are now formalized as what's called the closure technique and the simple clearing process, and GDLI, which stands for grounding, decompression, legitimization, and integration. And I had a pretty naive view, a pretty like pie in the sky view of healing, that it's a clean process, and we get through it, and it's a linear experience. And mostly because I had not, hey, Kaya, yeah, dirt and mess, yes. Because I had not completely gone through my own healing. This is one of the big things with healers and self-help gurus. We often start off thinking we know our shit, and if we don't do our work, we end up, screwing up pretty badly. Well, I did my work, and I'll tell you, real healing has nothing to do with cleanliness or orderliness or linearness or anything like that. Real healing is sometimes a very bloody, dirty, messy experience. Why? Because you're actually recombobulating your identity, your relationship to yourself, to the reality that you live in, to concepts like relationships or love or attachment. They all get shattered in real healing, because most of the time we need healing because, one, we're in a trauma state, so the brain's stuck in a freeze-fawn loop or freeze-fight loop or a fight-fawn loop, things like that, and they just really it gets very confused about what reality is, because it ties in these fantasies we have about what's going on, what we need, and what will happen, and if we do this right, we'll get that, and if I give this, they'll give me that in return, and things like that. And we try to force healing because we want to escape our pain, because we have a negative or antagonistic relationship to our pain. I, for one, hated my feelings. I hated my pain. I resented it because I felt like it took from me everything I wanted. If I didn't have these feelings, if I didn't have this pain, I could have the things I wanted with this particular person. That was part of the love addiction component that I was dealing with, because I had completely exiled myself from myself. I no longer had a connection or a respect or a appreciation, a love for my feelings. And I'm not talking positive feelings when I say this. I'm talking the pain, the loneliness, the anguish, the heartbreak, even the shame and the guilt. I hated it all. And I worked very hard to try to cut those out of me and eliminate them, and thinking that that was healing. And that came up through different kinds of processes like EFT. I used EFT first, and then I used some shamanic processes, and then I used the Sedona method. And ironically, all of these processes have a backfire effect when you don't use them correctly. They force you to confront your pain more. Because it's like, time to wise up here, Marshall. This is how it really works. So that deep honesty started to really surface for me, is that my pain isn't the problem. And that was a hard journey to get in connection with, because in tandem with accepting that my pain wasn't the problem, I had to confront two things. One, my fantasy was bullshit, which means two, I had to confront reality and start to deal. I had to start to learn how to feel what I feel without the injection of a story or an objective to achieve while feeling it. Because a lot of times with healing these days, we're attempting to heal in order to get somewhere. It's a transactional relationship with ourselves. Well, I'll deal with this feeling so I can get to this new relationship. I'll deal with this trauma so I can have more freedom. Does that sound loving? Does it sound kind? Because to me, it isn't. And that was one of the biggest roadblocks in my journey in healing, is confronting that and going, wow, I need to actually care about my pain. I need to develop a relationship with the parts of myself that are expressing this pain. Get honest with myself that I've been abandoning myself most of my life in hopes of getting to a certain place through healing. Real healing is about reconnection. It's about restoring a sense of respect and appreciation and trust with these aspects of yourself that are in deep pain. They need love and respect and trust from you. And they need you to be trustworthy and to be available to receive them and understand them, because they're fundamentally the expression of unmet need. And when that clicks in your world and you start to realize all my pain, whether it's shame or guilt, cynicism, fear, anxiety, emptiness, numbness, loneliness, ache, cravings, the love addiction, they're all expressions of unmet need. And when that clicks, your healing takes on a radically different approach, a radically different expansion, because now it's not about fixing these feelings anymore. It is about understanding what they're trying to get fulfilled within you for your well-being and ultimately your happiness. There's magic behind this concept if you lean into it. It's a challenging one, because now we're not fixing anything. We're not trying to get anywhere by healing. Instead, we are receiving ourselves and connecting with a very honest and deep experience of who we are, and then feeding the need in a healthy way. When we do that, the pain abates. It evaporates. It goes away. And we accomplish this through what I call the nurture process. The nurture process is a structured process. I'm trying to find a different word for process, but a structured way of meeting needs internally and externally that I teach through what's called nurture, which is a bonus to From Addiction to Connection. And you can get access to that by joining or by getting your Rapid Heal live mentoring membership, because that gives you access to From Addiction to Connection, to the Heal course, to Thrive Strategy, to Nurture. And these are the power center of healing for my work. And it also gets you access to the bi-weekly live mentoring hours, where you get custom guidance from me and you get support from other students going through this work together. And so it's an important thing to understand what's going on there and connect with your needs. When you connect with your needs, then you can start to actually experience real lasting healing. So when they feel safe enough to be filled, and you feel like, and you start to experience that emotionally, you're really healing. And what real healing is, guys, is it's an evolution from state A to state B in relationship to a context, to something, right? So if I have shame about who I am, so who I am is the context, state A is shame, and I start meeting my the unmet needs behind that shame, which is love and acceptance, approval, safety, validation, things like that, then I start to transition to state B, which is acceptance and love for myself. So state A to state B about something. That's what real healing is. It's an evolution. When you let that path take you and you receive it and you follow it, you can't direct it, you can't control it. That would be trying to get you to somewhere. That would be a give to get or a fixing approach. When you let it teach you, you let it lead you by the hand and bring you through that process, you will discover by your own organic experience your healing. And it is a messy process. The gap between state A and state B is about discovery. Curiosity is essential to it. It is the secret sauce to real healing. When I get curious about who I am without the shame or without the guilt or beyond the codependency or beyond the trauma, I start to tap right back into who me, the real me, the innate value me, my real voice, my real value, my real vision. I'm way outside the codependent fantasy. I'm way into the reality of me and what's going on in my material experience, my emotional and mental experience. That's where the gravity and the substance of real healing is found. And if we trust that, we lean into it, we allow it to move for us, to guide us, we will succeed in our healing. And it's a deeply transformative experience that sometimes happens very quickly, but often happens very subtly. I've seen it repeatedly, especially with my students. They get into this about 12 to 14 weeks in their practices, whether it's the happiness strategy or from addiction to connection or heal or whatever. They start to see this shift and it starts to amplify and grow. And that's because they're doing the work, and they're doing the work at the somatic level, at the being level of our existence, which is the felt sense arena. That's where we feel the things. And the brain's starting to take it on and trust it, and then it expands. Once that boulder is rolling, it just gains more and more momentum, and that just allows you to expand more into your world. Kaya says, the nurture process is my current favorite tool. Pure nourishment, game changer from trying to get rid of something to filling up my empty cups. Yes, that is the point of the nurture process and the practice in that. Now, nurture isn't sold anywhere. It's always an addition to a course I teach. And so if you want access to that, you have to get your Rapid Heal Live mentoring membership to get access to that. It's right there. You log in right into the university. Because what this does is it just accentuates everything you're doing and everything you're accomplishing. And that just magnifies your healing. So that's the goal here. So guys, I invite you to join From Addiction to Connection. We have 4 days before we launch. Enrollment closes this Saturday, so you've got 3 days to get in there. The link is above on Facebook, below on YouTube. This is your chance to break free of that fantasy, that love addiction, that enmeshment with the other person, and develop peace, connection, and sanity back in your life. We'll do this over 8 weeks. Classes are Sundays at 7 p.m. my time, which is -7 GMT time. And with that, you get access to the nurture process. You also get access to the bi-weekly live mentoring hours where I assist you through the process, help you achieve that sanity and that growth and that happiness again. Because this is the big hub of healing codependency, is that. And then from addiction to connection, it preps you to go into your own personal discovery. You can do that through the happiness strategy with me, or you may find a different path beyond that. Doesn't matter to me. Whatever works for you and your well-being and your expansion into the brilliance that you truly be. So I invite you to join us. Click that link above to learn more about it. If you're on Facebook, below on YouTube. Yeah, I think I got it right. My brain's gone combobulated there. And I'll be excited to have you as my student. Guys, remember that you're worth knowing, loving, and keeping. I appreciate you. If you got questions, feel free to email or PM me. You can send me a personal message or DM me. I guess that's the modern term. Date myself here. Otherwise, keep yourself safe out there. I'll see you guys in tomorrow's training. And talk to you soon. Bye-bye.